What's up everybody, Jason from Jason's Exotic Reptiles. Today I'm doing a video that I think you guys are going to enjoy, I know I'm excited to do, and that is cutting Burmese python eggs. If you remember, a couple months ago I did a video of me pulling Burmese python eggs from a hypo female Burmese python and then putting them in my incubator. Well, this is 2 months later, or about 2 months later, and now we're going to cut the eggs open to see what we have. I went into the incubator this morning. A couple of the eggs are starting to pip. I see hypos, I see lucies, and the cool part about this is I don't know what male I put to it. I could have been one of two males. So the female that was bred was a hypo, 50% het, albino green labyrinth caramel. This one now, the male that I put to it was either a ivory het albino possible het labyrinth or a hypo with the same hets as the female. So let's spin this camera around. I'm going to show you the eggs. We're going to cut them open, see what we have, and I'm excited. So you guys get excited. Let's go. All right, guys. So here we are. It's been 67 days, and that's kind of long, in my opinion, for Burmese python eggs. But we have them here. I incubated them at about 88 to 89 degrees, and I think we started with 22 eggs. How many do we have left? So we have 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we have 20 eggs left, if I just counted that right. And I'm pretty excited to see what we have. So far, I see a Lucy popping out here, hypo. This guy here is a hypo, another Lucy, another Lucy. So based on what I'm seeing that's a hypo. Based on what I'm seeing right now, I think it was the leucistic father that gave me the babies. And how I'll tell is if I have any normals in here, then it was not the leucistic father. If it was a leucistic father or the super hypo, then out of here I should have about half leucistics and half hypos, and then if we hit on any of those possible hets, then we could potentially get pearls and blizzards and different stuff like that. So it's been 67 days, and I have to be honest, this egg here I did cut last night. It was only because usually my Burm eggs start to hatch between 60 to 65 days, and I thought, all right, this is getting a little bit long. This one was looking kind of funny and miscolored, so maybe it went bad, and I wanted to make sure that they weren't drowning in the egg fluid. And that's essentially why I cut them. Is not because I can't wait, it's that I don't want to lose any of the babies because maybe the shell got a little bit hard in the incubation period, or for whatever reason, sometimes they break their egg tooth off in the process. So I just cut one open, and just to gauge where it was. When I cut it open, I saw there was still a lot of fluid in it. I kind of felt that before I cut it, but I didn't want to cut the rest of them because they weren't quite ready. Little to my knowledge, they were about a day away and they're ready to hatch. So I have a razor blade here. I do typically use a scissors, but I don't know where that scissors went. I just got in some new racks. We're actually on my Freedom Breeder shaker table right now. As you can see, this kind of working surface, and I really enjoy this table. But what we'll do is we're going to start cutting them just to see what we have in here. They're all ready to go for the most part, and they would pip on their own, but I just don't want to take the chance of losing a baby because they couldn't get out. So this one is clearly some kind of a hypo. I can't tell if it's labyrinth. It doesn't look labyrinth at all, but you can tell there's a hypo in that egg. So we have a hypo there. Let's just make a little bit more of a slit here with this one. Just gently, I'm going to just go around the surface of the egg here. And this one doesn't need it. This is mainly because I'm excited and I want to see what's in here. And this one also looks like a hypo here. Yep, that's a hypo. And these are already pipped for the most part. There's a couple in here that haven't come out yet, and we're going to get to those last. I just want to see what we have in here primarily for the eggs and for the babies. And again, this is something different that you don't get to do for boa constrictors, and it's probably one of my favorite parts of breeding pythons is the anticipation, waiting to see. So we have another hypo in there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. So we have a couple hypos. I know this one was a leucistic, and this one was almost completely out of its egg earlier. It's funny, just has a little head poking out now, taking some breaths. So I think that's awesome to see. It's just so cool to hatch out some python eggs here. And at this point, you don't really need to worry about moving the eggs. Yeah, you can see there's another leucistic popping out of the egg there. Super cool. So let's see what we have in some of these that have not pipped yet. Actually, this one here just has a little slit in the backside. And you can see there's the little slit, so it's made an attempt to get out. That's one that I want to make sure gets out of the egg. Again, very gently, just keeping this on the surface. You can see how shaky my hands are. That's exactly why I'm not a surgeon. That, and I'm not the smartest person, so I don't think you want me operating on you. But I do see that is a leucistic. I don't know if you guys can capture it. I don't know if this camera's picking it up with all this egg fluid in there, but I don't see any pattern. So it's all white. So that is 100% a leucistic in there. Let's there's another leucistic in there. So based on what I'm seeing, I'm assuming that it was the leucistic father, only because there are a lot of leucistics in this litter. And it's kind of too many for me to say that this was the hypo, at least at this point. You know, we'll see if it proves me wrong. There's another leucistic in there. And remind you, these have already pipped on their own. I haven't cut these. We're going to get into some of the ones I'm going to cut now. You can let them hatch completely on their own, and sometimes I will, especially if I'm just not around and I forget. You know, sometimes I'll go away for a weekend and I'll have a whole bunch of babies. And what I do not want to do is pull them out of the egg. So that's the last thing you want to do. I wish I had a pair of scissors, because this razor blade really isn't what I should be using. But you can use it, no problem. And that is another hypo in there. You can see its little head. Let's take a look at this guy. These eggs did have a little mold growing on them, which I wasn't happy about, but I was able to treat and keep it at bay for the most part. A couple eggs did go bad, but they were not fertile to start with, so once I turned the video off on my last video, I was able to think about what I was doing a little bit more and really kind of focus on what I had in my hands. So there's another leucistic in that egg. I can't tell if it is a blizzard or if we have any blizzards in here, because I can't see their eyes. That'll be the difference. Is the blizzard is a super hypo albino, so they will be all white with red eyes, as opposed to some of these in here that are all white with blue or brownish, kind of grayish colored eyes. Some of these eggs are pretty full. I'm tempted to not cut them, but I can see there's some marks over here, so maybe this guy was trying to get out at some point. And that is a hypo. So I don't think we hit a het albino, because I'm not seeing any pearls, I'm not seeing any leucistics. So I do think that this is probably just going to be a possible het albino. But let's keep moving. And I will show you guys all these babies in a better picture later on here. There's another leucistic in there. And what I do is I just kind of pinch the egg here and make a little slit just gently. You need to have a sharp razor blade to do this. And this way you don't cut the snake. I'm being a little bit more gentle than I probably have to be, but that's fine. I'd rather not cut the snake and take my time with this. There's another hypo in there. I am happy to see that these eggs are not too leathery, which sometimes can happen if you have fluctuations in your incubation temperature and your humidity. Sometimes your eggs can be kind of leathery, and that's essentially what we don't want, is the snake has a hard time getting out. There's a cool little hypo. His head popping out over there. Spin it that way. So these have not even taken their first breath yet, but I don't want to force them out. They'll be fine with what I'm doing right now. There's another leucistic. So, all right, so it looks like we have, I'm gonna officially say at this point that we likely have just some possible hets, and we have some ivories and hypos, which I'm very happy with. I was targeting ivories for the most part on this, ivories and blizzards if we could get them. I do have potential blizzards, and there's 4 other litters, or 4 other clutches in the incubator. So I'm hopeful that we'll have some really cool stuff this year. There's another pretty cool hypo. Let's cut this guy open a little more. And there's that leucistic in there. Very cool. Got a couple more, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more, 5 more. And I do think it is important to at least let a couple of them pip. That one might be a pearl. It's hard to tell at this point because it's in the egg. Nope, that one's another leucistic. So this is really cool. I have quite a few leucistics in this bunch, which I'm very happy about. Something about a white Burmese python has always been really cool and fascinating to me. So I'm excited to see that we have all these. And the next process after this is I will let them all come out of their egg on their own. I'm going to do this, and I'd say within the next day or two, all the Burmese pythons will come out, do their own things. There's another leucistic there. Very cool. So all the Burmese pythons are going to come out on their own over the next couple days. Once they're all out, I'll put them together in a group. So I find that the snakes tend to do better as babies. This is maybe just me projecting, but they tend to do better as babies in a group than when I separate them all right from the start. They usually all curl up together and they kind of like hide in one giant ball. Then from there, once they have their first shed, that's when I will begin to separate them into their own cages, because I don't want them all starting to, I want them to get comfortable and starting to feed. So about a week or two after we put them all together, after they all shed, or about a week or two after they're all together and they're out, they'll shed, and then I'll start to offer them their first meals. Once they have, Burmese pythons can be a little bit tricky to get started, so once they have about 3 to 4 meals, consistent meals, that's important for me, is I need to have very consistent meals in these guys. 3 to 4 straight meals with zero, this is weird, this egg fluid's green, it's kind of funky looking. I don't know what's going on there, but it's definitely alive, because you can see it's moving around in the process of me pushing it. There's its yolk sac, so this isn't ready to come out, but you can see it's definitely a snake that's ready. And what they will do is they'll absorb the last of that yolk. And one more egg here. What do we got? Last one. Let's see if we can get one more ivory. And I think we did it. One more ivory. That's cool. So, for ivories, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one I believe is an ivory. Sorry, you guys are seeing more of my hands and arms than the snakes. That's 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. So that's cool. So we have 9 ivories, 11 hypos. All of them are possible het, albino, or 66% het albino, and then I guess you could say, I'm sorry, no, 50% het albino. That's cool. But this is good. This is part of the whole process. So the mother has now, I've now confirmed with the mother that that snake is likely not het albino. Could still be het for the other stuff because, and I guess it's likely not het labyrinth, or it could be het labyrinth, but I'm not quite sure. So let's just watch this guy come out. That's really, really cool. And over the course of the next couple weeks, this is what they're all going to start doing. Or I should say over the next couple days. Super cool little guy. So after that, once they've had a few males in them, 3 or 4 consistent males, and I know that they're going to do well for people, I will post them all up on the website, with prices, individual pictures, all that stuff, and we can go from there. I'm actually going to check this guy out. This looks like, so this is the one with the green fluid in it, and I just saw the head. The head is a little funky looking, so this one's probably deformed and not going to make it. But the head, it looks like the lower jaw is not developed. Ah, yeah, that's what happened. So this one's a little unfortunate. This guy or girl right here is not going to make it. I don't know if you guys, see if I can get the head in view, but it basically has a very small, undefined upper head to it. It's so this one will not make it. It will come out, but it won't thrive. See if we can get the head here. Yeah, it's really hard to see. But I'm going to leave this one alone. They'll all come out on their own. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to spin it around, do some closing remarks on this, and we'll go from there. Alright everybody, we're back. So what I did after I turned the camera off is I put the lid back on, put it into the incubator, and I'm going to leave those guys in there for a couple days. I'll check on them tomorrow morning, and I'll check on them after that. Once they're all out, I'll remove them all from that egg box, and I'll put them into their own clean cage. We will do a follow-up video in a couple weeks showing you the babies, and I just hope you all enjoyed the video. So please remember to like, share, subscribe. Sharing this content really helps more than anything else. Well, subscribing helps because we want to grow it, but sharing reaches new people that I can't reach myself. So please, if you want to do something for the channel, remember to share the videos. Like, subscribe, drop me a comment if you liked it. Let me know what you want to see next, and I appreciate everybody watching and subscribing. Thank you guys.